What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yep. It's finally here. Finally here. Finally here. I'm so happy right now. I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm just so happy that I'm here. I'm happy that you're here. Let me take care of a couple of house cleaning rules first. Rules first, and I'll explain to you what's going on. Get a little bit of Palo Santo going on around here. Look, for those of you who don't know, my name is Clyde Rush, and welcome to the first episode of the Light Body Podcast. The Light Body Podcast. Listen, this has been going on for I don't know how long. I don't know how many years I've been thinking about this, but I do know that it's finally here. This is the time for me to shine. All right. And it's not just about me shining for me. It's about me shining for people who are in this journey, along this spiritual journey, discovering the greatest versions and the best versions of themselves. All I'm doing is my part in what it is that I've been guided to do through my stress, strain, and struggle, and turning that stress, strain, and struggle into a success. So I'm here. The light body is what has actually happened and occurred to me. And what does that actually mean? I'm going to explain what all of that stuff means and what the light body experience is about, what activation is. But then again, this is episode number 1. And I know you've got a lot of questions. I've had a lot of questions. And what is this light body? What are you talking about? And how does this thing actually happen? And the multitude of questions. Well, I've got a document. And I'm going to read some of that stuff from you. But I just wanted to explain a little bit about my situation and my journey and how I happen to embark on this spiritual level of awareness and this spiritual awakening, so to speak. No different. I didn't say a religious awakening. I said a spiritual awakening, and there's a difference. So most people end up having a situation, a circumstance where they may have some problem or a circumstance or situation that has gone on in their life for an extended period of time. No different. I'm no different than anybody else who's had the financial situations, who's had the relationship situations that have gone awry, or a divorce, or whatever your stress, strain, or struggle may have been, whether it be wealth, whether it be health. And again, reiterating back to relationships, whether it's environmental, whether or not it's financial. All right. And those different things usually impact, if not one or two of us, all of us from some degree, where the big 3 is the thing that actually stirs you the most. And the big 3 are basically wealth, health, and relationships. Those are the big 3. Everything else kind of falls under one of the umbrellas of the big 3. And my situation, like I said, is no different than you that are sitting out there listening to this right now. When you embark on this spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening, it's yours. It's your own. Other people may feel, or you may seem like they may be along the same journey and different things on that line, and that's fine. But this is yours, okay? And it's like no one else's. It's your own unique experience. Other people may say that there may have been similar things that they may have grown through or gone through. And like I say, mine is no different, except that I decided that, you know what, I'm going to be really specific in detail and be transparent with you, because a lot of people aren't. They wave the flag of success, and they talk like, oh, I've been here and this is how it's always been for me. And I'm going to tell you right now, it wasn't always like this for me. And I'm still along the way. I've made some decisions and I've made some choices that have impacted my life in such a way that now I can say that I'm truly free from the decisions and the choices that I made that were not conducive to the best part of my life. All right. So I'm not going to make this all about me, because you're here for you. And all I'm doing is just sharing what my situation was. And if you had those same identical types of situations, or if you had those same problems, then this is for you. But what I will say from the very beginning is this. Imagine what your life would look like if you didn't have the stress, strain, or struggles that you're growing through right now. Imagine, get a clear picture in your mind's eye of what that would look like for you. Because that's what this Light Body Podcast is all about. I'm going to give you the foundational structure that you can understand what the light body experience is all about and how it resonates within your body and what it actually means and what it means to other people, but more importantly, what it actually means to you and what are the stages of this thing. It's a lot. I'm telling you right now, it's a lot of information. so much that I can't even do it in one episode as much as I would like to. It just wouldn't. It's just so much information that you can't really, and I don't even like to say the word. It makes it a little more challenging to try to get it all in one shot. So what I'm going to do is, this is episode number 1. All I'm going to do is give you the foundational structure of what actually happens. And this is a PDF, and you can download it if you'd like. If you want to, send me an email address and I'll definitely get it to you. There's going to be a link for you to actually do that. And you can get this same information, and I'm pretty sure it would help you along the way, because there may be other people who are just beginning this journey. And there may be other people who are further along the way that understand this intrinsically and are benefiting from it in ways that you can only imagine. So that's why I say to you in the very beginning, imagine what your life would look like without the stress, strain, or struggle that you've been growing through for umpteen years, umpteen days, umpteen weeks, umpteen months, however the long time has actually been for you. Just get a clear picture on what it looks like for you. And then once you get that clear picture on what it looks like for you, I want you to get the feeling of how you would feel if you had that picture that you have in your mind's eye manifesting in your life right now. And more often than not, the reason why you don't have it manifesting in your life, and we'll talk more about this, is because you haven't associated the feeling with the clear intention that you actually have in your mind's eye. All right. So listen, I want to thank you for showing up today and for being present. And by no means are we over. It's just that I said, let me just kind of give you some of this background on what this Light Body podcast is all about and who the guests are that will be coming to this show. And some of them are in the very beginning stages of their journey. So it's going to be very intertraining for you, because it's like, hey, listen, that person sounds like me. Or maybe something I have gone through sounds like you. And that's the whole thing with it, is to help you feel, like I said, feel like you're not alone. See, I felt like I was alone for a long period of time. Nobody knew what it was that I was growing through. Nobody was able to explain to me what was actually happening. And I was looking for a long time for this feeling of being accepted. And when you're in that space, especially as a male, and you're looking to be accepted by your family, your friends, frenemies, your peers, and they don't accept you, you start to feel kind of worthless and valueless, like whatever it is that you're bringing, it is not quite matching up to who people think you should be. And that's that false ideology about your false identity and who you truly are. You haven't really accepted yourself for who you are, and you keep looking for other people to accept you when you haven't accepted yourself first. So again, on this spiritual journey, there was an awakening for me that just shook me. And I'll explain what some of that stuff is, and how I woke up and where I woke up and what was it that actually triggered the waking up, the awakening for me on this spiritual journey. And sometimes you find that awakening, they say you hit rock bottom. And when you hit rock bottom, sometimes people hit rock bottom and they don't come back up. And those people that hit that rock bottom and don't come back up, more than likely, they're probably not here anymore, because they've hit so hard that they could not tolerate the mental stress, the emotional stress, the spiritual stress, and the physical stress that has gone on within them. And they made that ultimate sacrifice of no longer being here, because they either were not around the right people, or apparently they weren't around the right people and you get the right information, and they literally just gave up. And when you give up, there's a difference between giving up and surrendering. And fortunate for me, I surrendered. And that's the ticket that allowed me to go through the gate, or the portal, so to speak, to this light body illumination. And I'm going to explain what some of that light body stuff is all about right now. So when we think about the light body, we're thinking about spiritual energy within the body. Okay, and many spiritual traditions and new age beliefs, because that's basically what this is relegated to, the light body is thought of to be an energetic or spiritual counterpart to the physical body, and it's believed to be comprised of higher frequencies, a vibration of energy than the physical body, and is often associated with enlightenment. Okay. It's also associated with enlightenment. Some people believe that through meditation, energy work, and other practices, they can activate or awaken their light body experience to a greater sense of unity, enlightenment, and well-being. For me, when I went through, I was at a seminar presentation. I'll leave the name of the guy out later on. I talked about who he is, but I don't want you to focus on that. I just want you to focus on the situation. And it was a meditation. Okay, so some people are kind of turned off between meditation and prayer. The Bible mentions meditation and it mentions prayer. So if you're already turned off, bye. It's okay. You can go ahead. I'm all right with you leaving. Don't even worry about it. It's all good because you're just opening up the space for somebody who actually wants to be here to be present. That's how I feel about this right now. And I'll probably feel about this like that for the rest of my life. But at the same time, the point about it is I was out there. And he started this meditation. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. He's like, listen, if you're going to do this, you got to be here. And you'll commit to doing this process. And if you're not here, the doors will be shut and you will not be let into this room. So I made sure that I was there. And he led this meditation. And he was talking about heart and brain coherence and the alignment of chakra energy. And I'll talk about what all of that stuff is. I'm just telling you my experience. And from there, you'll gain some insight on how this possibly can be for you. All right. So what happened at this particular meditation is, I was like, my eyes was closed. I had just recently started getting into meditation, so I was still fresh. I wasn't kind of stalled by the stigma that actually goes along with meditation. So I was kind of fresh. I was still new to this. This is a few years ago. And it was the awakening of what could possibly be. And one of the things that, the presenter was actually saying was, listen, if you are going to do this, just go all in, show up and be present and allow what's going to occur to occur. Don't get into your head with all the noise about they, them, those, and others have said or what they spoke. Just be present in the moment. And allow what occurs to occur. So there was a couple of things that had went on before, but I know in this particular time, this was a buildup. So you start out doing these meditations, you start conquering the noise and the chatter that's actually inside the head, and you start to learn how to focus. And I got to this place where those things had actually got into alignment. And once they got into alignment, we were, beginning this meditation, and a couple of things started happening. Your body just starts to release, and there's a separation between the thoughts that you were thinking and what your heart actually believes. And then you start to really vibrate on this new frequency. For me is what it was something brand new. Make a long story short, in this particular moment, it was about me surrendering. And when you surrender your will of what it is that you're trying to control everything. You're trying to make things happen. I said try. And you think that you've got all the answers. And if it doesn't happen, it's because you didn't do it. And there's the guilt, there's the blame, there's the betrayal, there's the doubt, there's the, anticipations of what it is that you think your life should look like. And I was caught up in that thing heavily. The material stuff and the relationships. And you start to really filter through those things. So I'm going through this stuff in my mind's eye. And I'm looking at it. And, retired detective from the New York City Police Department, those of you that don't know, one of the things that you really don't have an opportunity to work with is your heart. The reason why is because if you're working with your heart and you're in the police department out on the street, you never know what's going to happen. So you don't have the time to sit there and allow yourself to be into that feeling state. It's more or less reactive. You got to react to situations and circumstances within a fraction of a second. You don't have the time to sit there and feel in your heart, oh, well, let me be sympathetic for this, or let me be empathetic for this particular person and their situation, because you don't have that time. So again, I put my time in the police department, and I kept my heart in a box, kept it locked up and locked away and contained, because if you have that heart set, then you'll be more empathetic or more sympathetic in situations and circumstances that don't require it. But you still have to have that balance. So for the longest time, I kept that away. And there's more information that'll come as we do more and more episodes. But this is just a basic foundation. And I will talk more about this as we go along. But for today's first episode of the Light Body Podcast with your boy Clyde Rush, I'm just giving you a little bit about my situation and how I actually got to this light body experience. The bottom line is this. It got to a point during this meditation where I let go. And when I let go, the person that was speaking was reiterating the numbers of the chakras, and he was actually stating, 4, and he kept going to 6. And every time he mentioned them, there was something in his voice that resonated with inside me. And when that resignation happened, it just kind of put my heart in a place where it was like open. And when your heart is open, there's an energy that sustains in your body like nothing you've ever felt before. And that heart energy shoots up to what's called your pineal gland. And when that energy shoots up to your pineal gland, through a breathing exercise that we actually did, there's an immense feeling of bliss that you actually get. And there's occurrences that happen for each person. Is different. I went through this whole thing of fighting it because I was like, I gotta fight whatever it is because I don't understand what is going on. I don't know. I'm in my head trying to feel this thing spiritually. This energy is trying to contain me, and I'm sitting here fighting. I mean, I was literally fighting through this whole awakening experience. And I get emotional thinking about it because I realized that I felt like I was fighting for my life. But what I was fighting for was the identity of myself that I knew myself to be. I was literally fighting for the struggle to remain the same and to be who I thought I was based on my circumstances and situations. I didn't know that there's a separation from who I was to emerge up to who I'm becoming. And when that started happening, I fought. And I was like, I refused to let it happen. And the energy in the body was like, listen, we're going to battle. And I mean, if you were in this room, you heard the battle. You heard roaring. You heard roaring, a roar that came from within myself. That was like the fight of my life to not be. But then the fight of my life to become was greater than the fight of my life to remain who I was. And that was that light body. And when that light body comes alive inside you and it illuminates you and you step into that higher degree of consciousness and awareness, everybody's situation is different, but I know what mine was like. And what happened to me was I felt like from the right side of my body, it felt like a sword was penetrated right from, I still feel it when I think about it, right up this side of my body and pierced my heart. When that piercing happened, the toxins and the poisons that was contaminating my heart oozed out. And that was painful because the memories of all the pain and suffering that I was going through and had been going through and hadn't even been aware of was oozing out of my heart. And my heart was being purified by fire. And that fire was the thing that illuminated and set my heart on fire for the light that lived within inside it to illuminate within. And when that light lit up, boy, I tell you, you talk about bliss, you talk about enlightenment, you talk about feeling something that's like you never felt before. That was it. And I never experienced anything like that before. While I was in that state, the illuminance was so bright. I opened up my eyes, right? And all I remember doing was looking down at my arms. And all I saw was this, it looked white, this white, bright light. Like I had two swords for my arms. Swords, like they were so, I just remember them being so bright. I could not believe, I'm just looking, I believe my eyes was wide open, but they were just these white lights there was this luminance in my whole body. And I can't, and only people who would resonate with this, and I never shared this with anybody like this before. So like I said, if you're all already gone, I'm not worried about you no more. I used to be, because I was looking for the acceptance, but after this occurred, never again. And that feel, I was crying. Every emotion that you could possibly feel, you're being confronted with in that moment. And the light is turned on. Sort of like the light on this candle that I actually have here. You see how that candle is lit up? That's the type of thing that actually occurs within your heart. And then the rhythm of your heart changes. And now the rhythm of your heart is coherent with the brain waves. And now you have this, for me, was what's actually called heart and brain coherence. And it's the spiritual energy in your body ignites. And it ignites and illuminates for the desires of your heart with the intention of you being here. Now, for me to grow through all of that stuff that I went through, the stress, strain, and struggles, financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically within my body, to get to this place today, to present to you what's called the LightBodyPodcast, is what my whole life has been about. From the inception of birth to actually get to this place right now. The people, places, and things that have come along the way, all of that, the decisions that I made, good, bad, and indifferent, were to get me to this moment, to be in front of you right now, to share with you with what is called the Light Body. The guests that are on their way to come here, listen, each one of them have their own story, and it'd be me doing a disservice sharing to you what their story is. I'm going to give them an opportunity to share their own light body experience with you, just as well as you understanding what my situation is. Again, just to keep things moving, and I'm glad I have this template right here so I can stay on point, because I could sit here and go on with this thing for the rest of my life just talking to you about this, but because of the time factor, I'm going to keep it short. So listen, let's talk to this next thing. And like I said, this is a PDF, and I will get into it. I'm just sprinkling part of the things that have actually happened to me into the content that's actually being delivered to you in this PDF. And you can have a copy of this and you can read it for yourself. And I encourage you to ask questions about it, because I know for me and for folks that look like me, we don't do this. We don't get down like this. Well, guess what? I do. And I've walked through the door, and all I'm doing is leaving that door open for you to come through too. All right. So we can get rid of the misnomers about folks that look like me, don't talk like this, and what is this light body experience? And all we know is when we sit down on Sunday between 11 and 12, we sit there and listen to what they, them, those, and others speak in reference to, and we come back, and that's not what this is all about. I said it's a spiritual journey, not a religious one. And there's a difference between the two. I've been on a religious journey, and I'm thankful for those journeys that I've been on. But at the same time, I'm on the spiritual hero's journey now. And I encourage you, while you're on your hero's journey, to become the hero of your life through this light body activation. If it's for you, fine. If it's not, leave it alone. And when the time comes for you to be ignited and to be lit up, then you will be. Those people, places, and things will start to manifest in your life, and you won't help but see them. Because your perception and awareness and your imagination and your intuitiveness and your synchronicities and serendipitous moments will start to line up, and you'll start to ascend to that higher degree of consciousness. So let's go into this next part of it, the aura or energy field. I'm going to speak a little bit about that. I'm going to say a couple more things. And like I said, I'm going to let some of that stuff seep in. Listen to this again and again and again and again. Again, this is episode 1. All right. And it's probably going to be about 10 of these episodes where I'm explaining this stuff. And after we get to episode 10, the guests will start coming in. All right. Because by then you'll have a full understanding on what this light body experience is all about. You'll understand more about me and my experience and what I went through. And I'll share more about the people who've come into my life without these people who've come into my life, where would I be right now? All right. I mean, you talk about family, we talk about friends, we talk about frenemies and all the rest of these other people and whatnot. But when you start to resonate on that different frequency, in a different vibration, in a different energetic field. The people who you knew try to hold on to you, to who you used to be. They don't want the newbie. They want to hold on to who you used to be, because they're still who they want to be. And you have to get to the point, well, you don't have to. You get to the place where you doesn't work for you anymore. And that is a challenge. Because family, friends, frenemies, enemies, we all want to be accepted for one thing to another based on who it is that we believe ourselves to be. Nobody wants to be alone. But on this spiritual journey, you find yourself isolated. As a matter of fact, there's a biblical reference that says, listen, roll up your tent. Follow me. He says, my path is narrow. So you don't need all the stuff with you. Roll up your tent. That's the stuff that you got with you right there immediately. Put it on your back and follow me. That's what I did. And rolling up your tent don't mean let me bring this, let me bring them, let me grab this, let me grab that. The reason why you don't need that stuff is because the provision is already made for you along the way. And what you think you need, you don't need. But the provision provides for you in a way that you can only identify it by being enlightened. And when you roll up by elevation, by revelation and separation, now you're on your way. And sometimes we, again, because we don't want to be alone, we try to hold on to an identity of who we knew ourselves to be, not who we truly are. And when you really start to understand who you truly are, you take a step back and you start to assess who's really here for me. And that could be a daunting feeling, because the people, places, and things that you accustomed to going to, you stop and you take a look and you ask the question, how did that serve me? Did it serve me in the best interest of myself? At that time, probably so. But at this time, now, in this present moment, just the thought of it, of going back to who you used to be, makes you disturbed. And there's a refractionary period that tries to pull you back in, tries to pull you back into who you used to be. We fall back into those behaviors. We fall back into those thoughts. We fall back into those negative emotions that kept us bound and wrapped up and tied up, so we couldn't even breathe and extend to be a full breath within your body to sustain the heart that's suffering. But when you finally surrender, something happens inside. The energy changes. The vibration changes. The light, awareness, consciousness elevates. And you don't want to be in those places. You don't want to be with those people. You ignore those phone calls. You deny, no, I don't want to be there. Nope, I can't make it. Not today. Not going to be able to make it. I wish I could. Well, actually, I wish I don't. I wish I don't. And you start to make decisions that are more conducive to serving you. Each of us, every single one of us, have talent, skills, and abilities beyond our wildest dreams. The fact of the matter is, we choose to live the nightmare and not live the dream. What I'm suggesting to you is get a clear picture of what your life would look like if you decided that I want to live the dream and become who I'm not in order to live the dream that I truly desire. What does that look like for me in my mind's eye? What does that look like for me to be the best version of myself? Let's get back into this. Aura or energy fields. In some interpretations, the light body is synonymous with the human aura or energy field. The aura is believed to be an electromagnetic field of energy and surrounds and interacts with the physical body. It is said to contain information, which is frequency, about a person's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual state. Some individuals claim to be able to perceive or sense the colors and health, emotions, and spiritual development. There are colors, there are vibrations, and these are frequencies that all interact within this aura. And what's important for you to understand is that when you start to elevate into that higher consciousness, we see on a color spectrum. Okay, and we're going to talk more about this as we go along. I'm just doing my best not to give you so much that it's like, I don't know where this guy is. I don't know what he's talking about. He's got all this stuff that's going on. By the time we get to episode number 10, I promise you, you'll be ready to go. And then you can receive the guest it is that I actually have here on a regular basis with more information. And then again, those of you that choose to stay, it's for you. Those of you that choose to go, it's not. And for a period of time, I wasn't comfortable with you not being here because I wanted everybody to be here, but everybody ain't supposed to be here. And I'm good with that. I'm comfortable with that. I embrace that, and it's like, well, I thought that's right. That's what you thought. That's not what I thought. And for a period of time, like I said, it's about that acceptance. I just want to be accepted. Oh, just please. I've made so many mistakes in my life. Please just accept me. Don't look at my shame and my guilt. Don't look at this. Don't look at that. But I had to look at it, and I had to face my shortcomings. I had to face my F-ups and my mess-ups and learn that my mess-ups turned into a message. I learned that my test turned into a testimony. And now I'm here to deliver all of that to you. And by the grace of God, I say to you, if I can shorten a corner turn that you don't have to make to keep you on a straight and narrow, then here's the information for you. And like I said, this is the first one, so it's kind of packed with all kind of stuff. Watch it again, listen again, and pay attention. Take down some notes. I have this document for you. All you got to do is send me your email address, and you can have a copy of the document just like that. And it's packed full of what you need to know as far as what the Light Body experience is all about. And then pay attention. Each week, I'm going to come on, and I'm going to have some more information for you. I'm going to try to get these 10 episodes. I'm going to do my best to get these 10 episodes out to you as quickly as possible. All right. So this way you can just kind of get into it, understand it, and run with it. And if it resonates with you, fine. If it doesn't, fine. It's okay. All right. Trust me when I tell you I'm good with it. I'm really good with it. It's okay. So look, I'm going to shorten this up and conclude in about 2 minutes and just wrap this thing up. If you have any questions or concerns or issues, I'm going to leave a link down here, and make sure you subscribe to this. Make sure that you put your email address in and your name, and you let me know where you are, because you won't want to miss the guests that are coming on here. You won't want to miss the energy that this podcast illuminates. You'll feel it right where it is that you are. I promise you, you're going to feel this. And it's what you need when you need it. The stories that I share with you are real. Peer experiences that I've grown through from one degree to another. And I encourage you to stay on your spiritual journey of awakening. Why? Because the universe awaits you. And I'm not talking about to gain the whole world. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your contribution from your skills, your talents, and your abilities that you were born with. There's something that you do specifically that you're designed to do. That if you were to take that to the marketplace, this is not me saying that, these are biblical scriptures and that go through interpretations over and over. But so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But just read. Just read. And if you don't want to read, then listen to what it is that I'm referring to, and take what it is that I say as relevant to you, and then whatever's not relevant to you, keep it moving and let it go. Everything that somebody says to me, I don't take it in. I take in what resonates with my heart and what makes sense to the light body that I am. And there have been some friends, there's been some family members that have just dropped off, and guess what? I'll see you later. It's all good. And it's okay. There's no hardship. I love you where you are. It's all good. Okay. And there are 4 things I'm going to say when I conclude this. And that's going to let you know at the end of every one of these podcasts, I'm going to say the same 4 things. I believe it's going to resonate with you because I know it resonates with me. And I'm just looking forward to the next one. So I've probably been on here a couple of minutes too long. Not too long, but longer than I expected to be because I figured it was going to be about 30 minutes. And I'm going to keep this really short because that's the attention span is really short. Not yours. But those of you who do have a short attention span, I'm talking to you. If you don't, I'm not talking to you. Again, the bottom line is this. The Light Body Podcast is out here. It's by me, Clyde Rush, and I'm happy to share this experience with you. And again, I know for the most part, most folks don't look like me talking about this, but that's the caveat and that's the benefit of it because listen, all I can do is share the truth and share the stories that I've been through. And if they resonate with you and it makes sense, then fine. What I want you to know is this. If you know somebody who's going through this, share this with them so that they can understand because somebody needs to hear this. 1, while you're on your spiritual journey, you're alone, but you're not by yourself. You are not by yourself. Okay, there are other people who are resonating on that same frequency as you. And all you need to know is that while you're growing through it, that you're not by yourself. I went through it, and I found a whole tribe of folks, even when I was growing through my ceremony, which was actually what it was. I didn't use anything. There was no plant-based stuff. There was no psychedelics. I didn't take any. I just used some breath work. And I didn't know it not to work. That was the funny thing. I didn't know that it couldn't work. So guess what? Because I did not know it couldn't work, it did. And it elevated me in such a way that I've never had anything like that happen to me in my life. Okay. You want to talk about how to gain your life back? How to do what really resonates with you? What self-love is really all about, what self-mastery is. How do you go from being a philosopher to an initiate, to mastery, to becoming an alchemist? What is heart-brain coherence? How do you command this physical body in this realm that we actually live in? What is the light body experience? Why the Light Body Podcast? This is the place to be. I'm not holding anything back. My guests will share the same thing it is that I'm resonating with. And it's going to be different. Why? Because I said it will be. And because I'm allowing myself to be. And I truly want for you what you truly desire to have for yourself. And if this resonates with you, you'll be back. And if it doesn't, you won't be. And like I said, I know it's like, why does this guy keep talking about people who are not here? Because this is not for everybody. And for a long time, I was very uncomfortable with people just not being here, not accepting me. But now, keep it moving. I only want the folks here who truly desire to put the work in and become the best version of themselves, because it's those people that are going to impact this universe in a way that the universe is moving right now. And right now, this universe needs a lot of help. We're in trouble. And people are waking up every single day. People are waking up and they're becoming the truest and the best version of themselves. All right, we're talking about healing. We're talking about radical transformation of the body from within. We talk about as is above, so it is below. As it is within, so it is without. What you think about, you bring about. What do you truly desire to have? Because that's why I'm here. And that's what this whole Light Body Podcast is all about. So listen, in the sake of time, I'm going to let you get along and do what it is that you do best. All right. I appreciate each and every single one of you for showing up today. All right. Because Lord knows you could have been anywhere besides here, but you chose to spend a few minutes of your time with me today. And I thank you for it. And as I said, there's 4 things that I want to conclude with. And I'll definitely give you my namaste say in a minute. But the first thing is this. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. And I love you. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. And I love you. All right. With that being said, peace, blessings, prosperity, and abundance. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.